Harvey, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to join me out here in sunny Colorado with our strategic partner, Karrikins Group. Appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dean. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Harvey, one of the things that I wanted to do today is just talk a little, is unpack the story that I've experienced of working with you over the last 10 years that I've known you, but most importantly, since you've taken over as managing partner of PBMares, and most importantly, talking about the alignment work and the leadership work that you've been doing, you know, within PBMares in your organization. Because I think it's a profound story that the rest of our Alliance membership really deserves to hear. But where I want to start was January of 2021.
Yeah.
You officially take over as managing partner of a $50 million, roughly, CPA firm with 11 locations across the state of Virginia, and you have aspirations to put your fingerprints on it. What's going through your mind at that moment?
A lot, and scared for obviously stepping into a role. You want to do a great job. You want to make your partners, your company proud. I think one of the things that you do is, or you don't know what you don't know, obviously. So one of the things that was important for us in the leadership journey, as I'm working with a new leadership team, was to really understand the dynamics of my team. You hear about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Like, the whole reason we started with the LHP work with our partner Karrikins was to get to good and better quicker. Understand the team strengths, understand the dynamics, the things that we needed to work on, because as a leadership team, that was going to impact so many things in the organization. For me, culturally, I think that was the second thing that I had really on my mind. Our firm has evolved a lot over the last 60 years. We still have the same mission, right? We want to provide great client service. We want to support the communities in which we live and serve. And we want to take care of our people. Those are the same goals today as they were 60 years ago. As you know, how we achieve those has changed dramatically. And you just look at all the things that change in the world, and COVID kind of really amplified that. It was the recognition that while we had a strong culture, the culture we have today is not what's going to carry us the next 60 years. Things change, they change fast. COVID changed the whole world overnight. And for us, and for me in particular, it was an opportunity to step back with our leadership team, with our partners, to go, what is going to make us successful in the future? How do we need to show up differently? I have to raise my game to the next level. We have to raise our game to the next level. And so there was that culture work that we knew we had to do, and that I knew we needed to do, to build off of that foundation.
How did your leaders show up with you as you work through that process?
Well, I think it is that collaborative nature when you look at why they were so receptive and why they bought in so quickly. It wasn't Harvey or COO telling you, okay, this is what it's going to be, this is how we're going to do it. It was really sitting down at the table and going, how are we going to do it? Because I don't have all the answers. And you're never going to get the right buy-in if people don't have a voice. Even if you go in a different direction, people need to be heard. And that's, in particularly in a partnership, as you know, that is crucial in order to get the right level of support and engagement for our partners. Especially as the model shifts and you go from being a small sole practitioner, right, to having a seat at the table, and maybe you don't have a seat at the table anymore, or maybe your influence on the organization shifts. Bringing that collaborative nature and going, we're going to solve this and we're going to solve it together, because we need all of us to solve it together. No one has all the answers themselves, I think is what elevated the buy-in. The partners were hungry for it. Our leadership team was hungry for the opportunity to have that shared leadership. And so they dove right in, was so impressed and blown away at how quickly it took hold. But by the work that they put into it, they took it real serious, and you could tell, and it just, you got to do the work.
You invited me into a board meeting.
Yes.
With your organization board, along with other senior leaders.
Yeah.
And I gave you a quiz. Not you, I gave your leadership
group,
team.
yes.
What were there, 13, 15 leaders? And I asked the question, what are your core values?
Yep.
What is your mission and vision that you articulate? And there was only one person in the room,
Yeah.
if you recall,
Our COO.
your COO, that could articulate what was on your website.
Yes.
And then I showed it on the screen, and everybody's like, it was a real aha moment. I felt like it was an aha moment from a perspective that it validated where you were in the journey at that point in time to where you needed to potentially go, right?
What was even more embarrassing is that we knew yours. We knew RSM.
Yeah, you did know RSMs.
But I think that is the power in defining that the way that we have. Because if you were to ask most leaders, right, what's your culture? What does it look like? Most of them would say it's good or it's strong, but well, can you define it? More importantly, can your people define it? And that was part of that work of going, look, we need to really define this and create the shared language, create the shared meaning. Even in just the words that we choose, right? Our team commitments. We chose teach and delegate, team and collaborate, communicate constructively, be entrepreneurial, and commit to an enterprise mindset. But it wasn't enough to just say that, because my interpretation of entrepreneurial is going to be different than yours, or enterprise mindset. So we had to get really granular on saying this is exactly what we mean, and there's power in those words. There's power in that meaning,
right?
Because then you can create the consistency. Now, if you multiply that across 50 partners, and we're all living and understanding that shared language, boy, then you can really have a huge impact on your culture very quickly.
I suspect if I come back in and give the test, your crew is going to be able to articulate just the way you just did these 5 commitments that you work so hard on.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what is the change you've seen in your leaders? Because I've seen a change in how your leaders show up.
I'm excited because I've seen the progression as well. And it really comes back to call it whether it's teach and delegate or trust and empower, right? You are empowering other leaders to make decisions, and with that, you almost create that hunger. They're hungry for it. You also have what we were very, very siloed approach, where assurance is over here, tax is working in its silo, IT is in a different silo. What we have is this cross-functional, cross-collaboration across all these different departments. And then actually, again, using the team commitments to do conflict resolution or to work through things. You'll hear our leaders saying, no, we made this decision because we needed to commit to this enterprise mindset. These are the priorities we set. It's been, it's really, really cool to see them using.
You almost depersonalize. You're using the framework and the commitments to depersonalize the feedback and bring yourself back to what are the organizational behaviors. Talk a little bit, there's two more questions I have.
Okay.
Talk a little bit more about, as you've done the work, so you did this work with the leadership team, your core leadership team, and then you've been cascading it out.
Yes.
You've been driving it deeper into the organization. We've been here talking with the Karrikins organization about this concept of alignment. What is that? What has that resulted in? As you have taken your leadership team and organization of close to 300 people and all these offices, how is that helping you create alignment down the organization?
Well, the impact of that, right, is especially is when you think about whether it's decentralizing or as we're in this remote hybrid environment, people are off, right? They're off in their different lanes and different areas. If you don't have that alignment, boy, things start to break down pretty quickly. You have people making decisions that aren't in the best interest of the firm, or you just have them making decisions without the awareness of all of the right factors in the firm. So it's created a lot of consistency, clarity, and transparency. And when you have those three things, then you can amp up or ramp up the accountability, because now there is that clarity. So it's been, I think it's been, I'll say, the glue that is what has held us together as we've been further apart.
Yeah. And you've had some phenomenal results though, right?
Yeah.
You didn't see them immediately. I remember you telling me about, as you've been doing this alignment work, it almost felt like for the first 12 or 18 months, the pulse surveys you were taking, they weren't really yielding anything different. And then what happened?
We saw the change. And right, if you talk to anyone in this space, they say it takes the 3 years to shift a culture. And so that, starting out with that mindset of, all right, we have to be patient, we have to be consistent. You were always preaching the consistency. You're not going to see it overnight. You're not going to see it right away. And what was a little bit, I'll say, frustrating was I saw it, and I saw the changes in the leadership, but it doesn't matter what I see. If the people don't see it, then you really haven't changed anything. And that was where you saw that shift in our pulse surveys. You saw the shift of where literally all of our scores doubled from the last 6 months, just in 6 months. And we had been stuck like right here at this plateau. And it was frustrating because you're seeing it, you're getting there, but then all of a sudden it was like the switch went off, and then it clicked. It started to resonate, and that was just a really powerful moment.
Yeah, I feel like your conversations are much deeper. I feel like your leaders are more vulnerable. Meaning they don't lead with, hey, this is what we need to do, and this is the right answer, and I'm not going to create any space. There was a lot of vulnerability that your leadership had to demonstrate, or skill sets they had to develop, right? And I see that day in and day out when I'm or at least the days that I'm participating with you, that I think, kudos to your organization in the sense that you've created the space to spend the time, and the conversations are better, which I think are leading to better decisions. Not necessarily easier, right? But they're leading to decisions where people can align to and start to understand and then take action to help you, again, drive the results that you've had. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've definitely put in the work. I mean, because you have to put in the work.
Doubt.
But what I am grateful and thankful for is the partnerships, right? The work we've done with Karrikins and the LHP. We wouldn't be here and be having those conversations. We wouldn't be on this alignment journey had RSM and the Alliance not brought them to the community, brought them to the work, and gotten us here. I just look at our relationship. You've been an incredible mentor, a great coach, and I like to think we're friends now. So I appreciate all of that. But you come in with that perspective on not saying, Harvey, this is what you need to do, but I have seen, right, what was successful at RSM. I've seen what other organizations in the Alliance members have, things that have worked well. And if you put in this work, it was almost a little bit of foreshadowing of saying, trust me, I think you'll like the results. And again, we wouldn't be here had those two things, right, those colliding forces not come together.
So my last question to you, Harvey, what would be some words of encouragement you'd give to our membership about taking this work? Taking this work on. It's
the important work, right? I mean, Peter Drucker said it. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. And we are in a people business, right? Our people are our asset. They are intellectual property. So it doesn't matter what strategy you have, how good it is. If you don't have the right culture, you are not going to see the success that you could be seeing if you do the work. And so that's where I know we felt it. That's where I have seen the work being put in. That's where I would just encourage our other Alliance members to think about the investment. The 3 years is going to go by whether you do something or you don't. You might as well kind of put in some of that work to just see it, give it a chance.
Yeah. Well, I applaud the leadership you're doing. Not only applaud it, I admire it. And it's great to know that we can play a part in it, that the Alliance can. and that you have the trust and confidence in the strategic partners that we're bringing to the table to help with certain needs. We have more work to do as an alliance, and we're getting better about all of that. But having partners like Karrikins, but more importantly, having leaders willing to create the space and step in to do the hard work. Because at the end of the day, that's where the rubber meets the road, is awesome. And so I applaud you on all the things you're doing.
Well, thank you, Dean. And I think that is the power of the alliance, and you guys kind of have that tagline of the power of being understood. And I'll say I feel that way. Like, I feel like Dean understands not only PBMares and our challenges, right, but you have been doing this work with enough of the alliance members, right, where we're not unique. We all are facing the same challenges, the same struggles. And as you get to a certain size, well, the scale of your challenges are different. And even when you get to a certain size, you get new challenges, but they're still the same as your other peers at that level. So that your visibility into that, I think, brings a unique perspective. But that's the power of our alliance in the community of sharing what we're going through, sharing what our successes are, how do we leverage those so that we don't make the same mistakes. But it also then gives you the opportunity to, from the alliance standpoint, to say, well, here's a consistent theme that my members are dealing with. How do we bring partners like a Karrikins or others to the table to help solve this problem that we all share?
Well, thank you for that. Appreciate you telling the story.